Hello guys, and welcome to another year in review video. Happy New Year! I can't believe we're already 2 weeks into 2022. For those of you who are new here, my name is Sarah and I am the founder and the calligrapher behind Sale of Paper. We started this business in May of 2020, and last year I did a 2020 year in review video to share with you the highs and the lows of starting a business during COVID. Now that we have another year under our belts, I feel like I am in such a different place and I'm so excited to go over the 2021 year recap with you. To be honest, 2021 was personally a very difficult year for me. I think it was actually the hardest year that I've ever lived through. I turned 30 years old and that marked a very big milestone for me. It was also my first full year in business. It was a year full of hoping and waiting and persevering. Felt very stretched, and there were a lot of moments this year where I just wanted to give up. It's also a year that I learned a lot about myself. I learned that I don't have very good coping mechanisms when it comes to stress, and I also learned that I need to be more resilient in my thinking and start intentionally putting my hope and trust in something beyond my circumstances. So I think these yearly videos are going to be a great way to kind of capture what was going on that year. So what happened in 2021 for Sale of Paper? So let's start in January. We were fresh coming out of a very busy Christmas season. I was so motivated. During that Christmas and New Year's break, I really wanted to start the year running, and that I did. I spent the entire break opening my first e-commerce shop. I opened my Squarespace commerce website and listed all my products there, and it was the first time I felt like a legit business. Up until this point, I was only selling on Etsy, and so this really felt like a big step for me. In January, I also launched bookmarks and stickers, and this was a whole new product category for me as well. The bookmark idea came from my friend Angela, who was really into Bookstagram at the time. She still is. And I was so excited to launch this product because I had not seen many people doing bookmarks at this time. Especially when it came to like Christian bookmarks, I really did not know anyone else that was doing it. I was excited to launch something that felt really unique, and they did really well. People really liked the bookmarks. And so in January, I launched 3 bookmark designs, and then throughout the rest of the year, I was able to launch 3 more. My goal for 2022 is to double or triple the amount of bookmarks I have in my shop. Another thing about January that kind of stood out was that it was my best sales month to date. It actually exceeded November and December in terms of sales and revenue. And I think it's because I had a big Boxing Day special where I sold all my Christmas items for 50% off. In 2020, I did not do a Black Friday sale because I wasn't ready for it. This was kind of like the biggest sale of the year for me, and it did really well. The thing that was most exciting about February was I was able to do a really cool commission for Val-Marie Paper. If you don't know Val-Marie Paper, please check her out. She makes the most amazing prayer journals, and she has been somebody that I've been following on Instagram for years, like literally years. I've been following her journey, her small business, and she has so many great resources on prayer. And somebody from Val-Marie Paper reached out to me and asked if I wanted to do the cover art and all the calligraphy for her 2022 prayer journal, and I was shocked. I was doing no outreach at the time, nothing like that. This person just organically found my work and asked me to contribute, and it was the first time that I felt really noticed. For somebody at that scale to find me and ask me to do this, it was such a big encouragement to me. I was such a small business, I really felt like a nobody, and this was a project that I was super happy to do. The prayer journals are out this year, and I will link it below. In February, I also launched my Valentine I created these vinyl stickers and just made like a postcard to attach them to, and I sold them either as is or with an option to be mailed to the recipient where I would be handwriting the message. This product did really well. However, I learned that I will not be writing handwritten messages for people anymore because it took way too long. And this was one of the first times I learned like what can and cannot be scaled. I learned not to make products where I would be the bottleneck to production. I also launched notepads, which were the first of its product category. Again, I was really excited to do this one. I found a really good manufacturer locally. So in March, Alex and I moved. We were still in the same city, but this was a very rough transition for us because we were going from a 3-bedroom house to a 2-bedroom condo, and it required us to downsize a lot. It also came shortly after my office makeover, so I was quite sad to be leaving that home office that I had just recently decorated, but I was able to move all my inventory into the 2nd bedroom, and I got settled in pretty quick. Over the course of March, I did a lot of custom work. Sales in the shop were slowing down, and so I started taking on so much custom calligraphy calligraphy work. I was doing wedding vows, I was doing logos again, and a lot of calligraphy frames like I usually do. In March, I also got my first wholesale order ever. This was a direct order from a university bookstore, and that client still orders from me every quarter. That really marked the beginning of something very new for Saela Paper. If you've been watching my studio vlogs, you know I really want to take my business down the direction of wholesale. So March 2021 was the start of that journey. April was pretty quiet. We launched birthday cards in April, which I was very relieved about because for a whole year in business, basically, I did not have birthday cards. I learned somewhere that birthday cards should make up 50% of your greeting card collection because that's the one occasion that everyone celebrates every month. And I had 0 birthday cards on my shop. So I launched 4 birthday cards. Unfortunately, I did not add to that collection during 2021. And so this year, my goal is to add at least 10 more birthday cards into that collection. At the end of April, I also did my first original sale. Now, this was something that I had been thinking about for a long time because of the amount of custom work I do. I wanted to sell original artwork that came pre-framed. This sale did incredibly well. I launched it on Instagram and people were able to claim different frames that they wanted, and it sold out within a day or two. Despite how profitable this sale was, it took a lot of effort from me up front. I had to spend days and nights and weeks painting these original one-off paintings. Once I sold them, I couldn't really reproduce them because they were sold as originals. And so I decided that I probably wouldn't do this again. This was another learning I had, but I did realize that people really liked the watercolor look of these custom pieces I was doing. So this really inspired my art print collection later in the year. All right, we are now in May 2021. This was a big month for me because it was Mother's Day. If you don't know, Mother's Day is actually the second biggest holiday for me and many other stationery companies after Christmas. One of the products I am most proud of launched during this holiday, and those are my Korean cards. I was able to create greeting cards with Korean messages on them, and it was a super emotional project for me. It was something I was very proud of and something I hadn't seen in the market. I was also able to do a very cool collaboration with Cozy Oven, who was a friend of mine who had a baking business, and she recreated one of my cards into a cake. It made me realize there were so many opportunities I could tap into. You know, beyond just collaborating with other paper product companies, I could collaborate with bakeries, florists, gift shops. Like, the possibilities are endless. And so this was a very inspiring collaboration for me. In May, we also launched our tote bags, which was a big deal because it was a brand new product category that wasn't paper. So I had to do a lot of research on the tote bags, the printing, where I was going to source all of that. It successfully launched in May, right before summer. We also got approved for fair in May. Ever since I got my first wholesale order, things really started going in the wholesale direction. If you want to learn more about fair, you can check out my fair video that I will link below as well. June was very stressful. If you watch my vlogs, you will know I had a very stressful print order in June. I went back and forth with this printer who was local to me, and I had such a bad experience with this printer. It was so bad that I don't even know how to leave a review because I feel like it could be very damaging to their business. But I just had such a negative experience, and it taught me, number one, professionalism. It taught me how to do quality control on my own products. It taught me how to voice my opinions and my thoughts better. It taught me a lot of things. It also taught me the importance of finding a long-term good printing partner, which thankfully I did later on in the year. But that really ruined June for me. In June, I also launched a huge art print collection and some new stickers. So it was like a big shop update for me. And I think that came at a good time because it was halfway throughout the year. And I just needed like a boost in sales where there were really no holidays going on. Now that brings us to July and August, the summer months. It was painful. It was very slow business-wise. I mean, personally, I had a great summer. Like, we went on a lot of day trips. We flew to New York. Personally, I was able to really enjoy my summer, and I spent a lot of weekdays catching up with friends and going out for brunch and stuff like that. But the only reason I was able to do that was because business was so slow, and it was unexpectedly slow for me. In 2020, when I had launched my business in May, because it was like a first shop launch, I was slowly growing my business even throughout the summer. And up until summer 2021, 2021, my business was steadily growing, and then I saw a sharp decline in sales. I was making barely any money each month, and I was actually in a lot of business debt because I was still paying for new products, and a lot of my money and cash flow was tied up in inventory. And so I felt a lot of anxiety. It was also around this time that I started fertility treatments, and so there were a lot of things going on. And these summer months really marked 2021 for me, actually. It felt so slow. There were so many disappointments, and I just wanted this year to be over. But despite feeling all these really heavy and negative emotions, I realized a lot of good came out from this summer. I was able to do my first no-issue collaboration. I had my first fair order in July after 2 months of waiting for an order. Even though fulfillment was very slow, it gave me time to work on my Christmas items. In September, I made one of the best decisions for my business and for my personal life, and I invested in a course called Paper Camp. This was a month-long virtual course, and it's for product-based business owners who wanted to grow or scale their business. It connected me to so many good resources, really good community, and I just learned so much. It validated so much of what I was going through, and it kind of helped me guide the next stage of my business. Something good that came out of the slow summer months is I was able to prepare for Christmas and launch things pretty early on my wholesale platform. And this year, I'm actually aiming to launch my Christmas stuff by August or July. One of my best friends got married in September. That was also really fun. I guess that's what I did this summer. I just hung out with friends, went to weddings, did a bridal shower, bachelorette, not a lot of work. Now we are in the final quarter of 2021. If you're still listening to this, thank you so much. So on October 1st, I launched all my Christmas stuff on my retail shop. I was able to launch 12 Christmas cards and 6 ornaments. I was actually really proud of this collection because I felt like it wasn't done last minute. There was a lot of variety in products I was offering, especially compared to the 2020 Christmas. In October, I also did my first in-person market at the Gibson Center. This gave me a taste for in-person markets, and I absolutely loved it. I loved meeting my customers. I loved merchandising and visually displaying all my products, and just interacting with people and allowing them to come and touch and feel my products was so special to me, especially being an online retailer. One of my goals for 2022 is to participate in more local markets. I'm aiming for 6 to 10 local markets, so we will see how that goes. October was also my best month for wholesale. To date, I got the most amount of orders on Faire in October. Yeah, just praise God. After a really slow summer, I was able to recoup a lot of the money in October. I also started painting for my hymn calendar in October. For a long time, I was debating whether or not I should even launch the calendars. It was so late and I hadn't done any painting or planning for it, but I am so glad I did it. It became one of my best sellers. It was actually my #1 goal of 2021 to launch some sort of calendar by the end of the year. Just pushed myself, and I'm so glad I did it. Which brings us to November. November was pretty cool. I officially launched my calendars in November. I also did a huge Black Friday sale, and it was the biggest sale of the year. It actually exceeded all of December and even January so far. I also got my first YouTube sponsorship in November from Ana Luisa. That was very encouraging. YouTube is something that I want to invest into long term. I love making content on this platform. To have some sort of official sponsorship, that was really, really cool for me. Thank you, Ana Luisa. And now to the end of the year, December 2021, things were kind of slowing down on the wholesale front. I started pivoting my wholesale catalog, and I made a separate catalog called Ministry Partnerships. I found that a lot of churches and nonprofits were emailing me, asking me for bulk discounts on my products, and I thought, why not offer them wholesale prices if it's gonna be for ministry purposes? So, like donor gifts, fundraisers, things like that. I created a ministry partnership catalog. I circulated it within my own network, and I found that it did really well. I'm so glad that I can partner with them in this way as a Christian business. I also closed my shop for the last 2 weeks of December, and during this shop closure, I actually did something that really bookends my year. I actually took my website off of Squarespace and moved it to Shopify. Throughout the year, I was finding a lot of challenges with the Squarespace platform. I absolutely love Squarespace. I love their design features, their blog features. However, when it comes to wanting to run an e-commerce website, there were a lot of limitations. And I know Squarespace was growing in that direction, but Shopify just had so many more years of experience in that. And so I switched everything over, and I have no regrets. I am loving my new Shopify website. website. It's really streamlining a lot of things for me, and I can see how this website is really gonna grow with my business as well. Yeah, that is 2021 for you. And the word that comes to mind when I think of 2021 is the word stretching. I felt like this year really pushed me beyond what I thought I could bear. I was holding on to my present circumstances and the challenges I had. And I was being stretched because I was also trying to hold on to the future of where I wanted to be, the things I wanted, the vision I had for this business. And I was just really stretched in between the two because they were so far apart from each other. The novelty of starting a business really wore off. 2020 is long gone, and the realities and the struggles of having a small business really settled in, and growth wasn't happening fast enough. I was fronting a lot of my personal money. There were just so many unknowns. I also felt like there was no real breakthrough in 2021, which made it even more difficult. Looking back on this year through preparing for this video, there was a lot of things to celebrate, and so I'm thankful for that. To summarize, I want to share 3 lessons that I learned from 2021 that I really want to implement in 2022. Number 1, I want to be very intentional about celebrating all the big wins as well as all the little wins. I think it's really easy, especially if you work by yourself, to kind of work so hard for something, and then when it happens, you gotta just move on to the next thing. But there's so much merit in stopping and pausing and just celebrating what happened. Whether it's little or big, it really helps you to stay grateful even when things are really hard, and even when you have to keep going to the next thing. Thankfully, I was surrounded by a community that really did this for me. People bought me cakes to celebrate different launches. I actually had 2 helium balloons that had the number 1 on it. It was 2 different people bought me those balloons to celebrate my first year at Sale of Paper. The second lesson is I want to learn to rest intentionally. 2021 did have a lot of rest, especially in the summer when business was slow, but it didn't really feel like intentional rest. This year, I really want to carve out time to take for myself, and if I know that summer is going to be pretty slow compared to the rest of the year, I'm going to actually schedule something to do this summer. Number 3, it is so good to invest back in the business. When I look back at 2021, Paper Camp was one of the best decisions I made, not just in terms of equipping me to do the actual work, but morally as well. I really needed that push and that encouragement from people who are in my industry. It was actually a really big investment for me because, as I mentioned, in the summer, I had very little cash flow, and this course was thousands of dollars. On a whim, I actually applied for a scholarship. I was awarded a small prize, and that kind of pushed me to just go for it. It was still costly, but in hindsight, I would have paid way more for this course, knowing that I would gain so much more confidence. In 2022, I want to seek out opportunities like this as well. I want to make sure that I keep investing back into Sale of Paper in all these different ways, and I think that would be a really healthy goal for me. All right, guys, thank you for watching another year in review video. Recounting all of this makes me that much more excited to go into 2022. Thank you so much for walking along with me this entire time. Despite it being hard, I never really feel alone because I know that there are people out there who are cheering me on, people like you watching these videos on YouTube, and customers who are constantly buying my products, sharing my products. I am forever indebted to you, so thank you. I hope we can celebrate more together next year when I do 2022's year in review video. Thank you so much, guys, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.